Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jimmy and welcome to my new video. So on this video, what I'll be doing is going over a few different effects that you can achieve using the local adjustments within Adobe Lightroom 5, but more specifically, the radial adjustment filter. So hopefully this should be a relatively quick and easy tutorial to follow along with, and what I'll be covering is just some of the different effects and different results that you can achieve solely by using the radial adjustment filters. So the reason I'm making this video is because I think it's a feature that a lot of people may not be completely aware of, or a lot of newer Lightroom users might not realize the different things that you can achieve with it. So in this video I'll be going over 3 or 4 basic things that can be done just by using the radial filters or a couple of other local adjustments. So let's jump right into it. You can see here I've got these 4 photos up on my screen. Now these top 2 photos I'll be going over the radial adjustments for, and I'll show you the settings and some different things that I can use on these different photos. And these bottom 2 images are just really examples which I'll show you the before and afters for. That way the video should be kept a little bit shorter and hopefully a little bit more enjoyable. So let's hop over into our develop tab over here and bring out our panels and just select our first image here. So this first photo here is just a photo that I took for an engagement shoot at the start of the year. And if you want to see the final edited photo with the nicer sky replaced and everything like that, you can check it out on my website with the rest of my portfolio with the link in the description. So what I'm going to be doing with radial adjustments on this photo is a couple of things to add a little bit of style and also bring a bit more attention towards the couple. So the first thing we're going to do is select our radial filter up in the top right hand corner here, or press Shift M. So as we click that, you can see all of the settings come up here, and they're pretty much all of the basic controls. So what we can start off with is just by resetting our settings by double clicking on the name, or even if you hold Alt, you can click up in the top left hand corner here where the effect word is, and that'll reset all of your settings. So the first thing we're going to do is apply a very slight vignette to the overall image to help draw some attention mainly towards the couple here. So to do this, what we're going to do is bring the exposure down just by about 2 stops. Now definitely don't do it this much unless that's the effect you really want, but I'm just doing it a bit more dramatic just so you guys can see it. So once we've done that, what we can go ahead and do is draw a circle around our couple like so. But as you can see, the effect is actually inside of the mask, and we kind of want the opposite. We want it everywhere outside. So to fix this, all we need to do is uncheck invert mask down the bottom here. Now as I said, this is a very extreme example just so you guys can see exactly what is happening, and make sure the filter is basically centered over the couple. And you may also want to just play around with your feather. You don't need it at 100 all of the time. So there looks pretty good to me. Now that we've got our correct area selected, we're going to reset our exposure and just dial it down about -0.3. And if we delete that filter now and reapply it, you can see there is a very subtle difference. However, it is a very natural looking effect, and it just really helps bring the viewer's eye and their attention towards the couple here. So another way that we can help draw attention into a photo is by using the graduated filter up here. So the same kind of goes with this. What we're going to do is drop the exposure by about the same amount, so -0.3, and we're just going to draw a filter up from the bottom of the photo. Now again, this is a very subtle and natural looking effect, but if we have a look at the before and after, you can see it just starts really dark and it fades into the photo very slightly. Now I use this on a lot of my landscape, a lot of my wider couple shots like this, and pretty much all of my car photography. Now this just really helps bring your attention away from the bottom of the photo and just bring it into the center where the couple or the subject happens to be. So the final thing we're going to do on this photo using our adjustments up here is enhancing the light burst that would be coming over this hill here. So when I took this photo, the sun was setting just below the hill over here or over here, I can't quite remember. However, if it was setting over this hill, we can use our radial adjustments here to add a very slight light burst. So what we're going to do is bring our exposure up about 1 stop and just draw a circle over the top of the hill here. Now you can see that's not really the best effect at the moment, but there's a couple of things that we can do to get it looking a little bit better. So I might bring my exposure up about 1.5 stops actually, and a couple of things we can do to help sell the effect that it's actually a light burst is we can bring up the saturation a little bit to add a bit more color in that area, and we can also play around with the temperature and tint up the top here. So if we wanted, we can add a bit of a tint to it, a bit of an orange tint, and add a bit of a magenta color to it, and that way we get a bit of color there instead of just a white circle. On top of that, we can also raise the highlights up, bring bring the contrast down a little bit and bring the clarity down a little bit too, just to create a little bit of a glowing effect. Now this definitely isn't the best way to make light bursts, and if you want a full tutorial, I've actually made one about how I make mine within Photoshop, so you can check that one out on the screen now. However, this could be a very nice starting point, and it could be a little bit of an effect to help kind of get that area ready for Photoshop later. So if we have a look at the before and after of that photo as a whole, you can see there's a nice vignette around the edges, a nice fade in from the bottom, a nice vignette around the couple, and now a little light burst. So a couple of different filters have really helped enhance the overall photo and just given it a few more things to make it a bit more interesting. So moving along to this photo here, we've pretty much done the exact same things. So what we're going to have a look at now is just our radial filter, and again we've used it to actually enhance a light burst that was already here. So if we take a look at the raw photo, this is it here, you can see I was shooting into the sun, so there is a bit of a light flare here. However, if we take a look at the photo just without the light flare, you can see it is very subtle and a very natural effect, but it just really helps enhance and lighten up that area and give a great feel to the overall photo in my opinion. So if you're curious about the settings, you can see it's just pretty much the same settings as last time, just a bit of saturation, a bit of exposure, and some slight color temperature. I've also added a light burst in the top right hand corner here, which is a lot brighter and negative clarity since all of that is out of focus. And you can see that just really helps make that area pop a little bit more if that's something you like doing. Now one little effect that I didn't mention before is creating actual vignettes using the radial adjustment filter. Now of course there is an actual setting and a slider for vignettes within Lightroom, however this can be a great way to kind of add custom vignettes and make them a bit more specific to your photo and what you're after. So to do this, all you need to really do is create a big circle like so and drag it over your couple. Just hit that invert mask option and then we can kind of customize it from there. So if you're in this kind of situation where you can't really expand it anymore because you're at the edges, you can move it up and then bring the edge down like so. Or you can use these tools up here to kind of zoom right out of your photo and you'll have a lot more control that way. Also, if you hold the Alt key, you can actually just move a single side of your filter instead of expanding it equally on both sides. So once you get the kind of vignette you're going for, let's just say we're happy with that, you can adjust the settings a little more to suit your photo. So I think that's pretty good right there, and if we take a look at before and after, you can see it is quite a dramatic effect. However, it really helps darken the corners and bring the attention further into the photo. Now this is a bit more of an extreme example. I'd make it closer to about this strength if I was doing it, so you can see it's just a very natural look. Okay, so moving along to just these photos quickly, you can see this is the final photo and this is the before photo here. So I'm quickly going to go over into my library tab to show you the before and after. And as you can see there, we've done a couple of those different things to help enhance the overall photo. Now there has been some Photoshop work done on this one, so it does look a little bit different. But however, you can see a bit of light burst coming through the leaves over here. You can see a slight vignette in the corners, as well as the darkening effect in the foreground. And you can definitely see that I've darkened everything else except for the couple to really draw the attention into them, and I think it's a really great effect. So moving along to our final two photos, you can see there is a pretty drastic change between these two. Again, this is something a bit more dramatic than I'd usually do. However, you can see I've really combined these different effects here. I've created a very strong vignette around the car using radial adjustments, and I've also darkened the foreground a lot. Now, the reason I did it this way is to kind of create the effect that this single spotlight is lighting the car. And you can see just by using radial adjustments and different adjustment filters, you can create some really cool and really dramatic effects. Now on top of that, I also used the adjustment brush to brighten up the car as you see it in this photo here, instead of it looking plain like this. So that is pretty much it for this video guys. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. If you did, be sure to hit that like button to help my channel out. In my next video, what I'll be doing is going over a demonstration and a review of some pretty nice Lightroom 5 presets created by Silky Presets, so keep an eye out for that later on in the week. However, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.